Section 12.1 is on composite functions. And if you'll remember, a function is simply a rule. All right, and so it's a rule where we're going to put a number in and we're going to get a different number out. So you put in the domain and you get out the range. And so a composite function is a function of a function. So it simply means we're going to daisy chain these together, and you're going to do one rule and then get an answer out, and then do another rule and get an answer out. All right. And this is a quick, easy lesson. All we've got is what I've got right here, and then we're done. Check this out. So what I'm going to do is I will give you a couple of different functions and their rules. So in this case, f of x is 2x minus 3. G of x is x squared plus 1. So if I want f of g of 2, what this simply means is we want the function of the function of 2. So it looks like this. We want the function f of the function g of 2. All right? And it looks more confusing than it is. All it means is you're going to take 2, you're going to plug it into the function for g. You're going to get an answer, and then you're going to plug that answer into the function of f. So watch how it works. So we want g of 2, which is x squared plus 1. So we want g of 2 equals x squared. So 2 is squared plus 1. 2 squared is 4. 4 plus 1 is 5. So now we just want f of 5. Okay? So then we put the f into the f function. So 2 times 5, because that's our x, whatever your x is, you're going to put in, minus 3. 2 times 5 is 10. 10 minus 3 is 7. So my final answer is 7. And you're done. All right. So there's really, I usually say at this point, so the only tricky thing is there's really not a tricky thing. All right. Make sure you keep them in the correct order, because watch this. We're going to keep the same functions f and g, same functions, but now I want g of f of 2. So we've got the same value that we're plugging in, but we're doing it in a different order. So make sure you get the order right. So this is g of f of 2. So always work from the inside out. So we're going to take f of 2 is going to be the function of f. So 2 times x is going to whatever we've got, what we want the function of 2. So 2 becomes our x. Okay? So 2 becomes x minus 3. So now 2 times 2 is 4. 4 minus 3 is 1. So now I'm going to go outward. We found f of 2 is 1. So now I'm going to go outward, and I want g of what we got there, and what we got was 1. So now I just want g of 1. Okay? So now g of 1, I'm going to take the g function, and I'm going to put 1 in instead of x. 1 squared plus 1. Well, 1 squared is 1. 1 times 1 is 1. Plus 1 more is 2. So my final answer is 2. And do you see how we used the same functions, but by changing the order, we got different answers? So the order will matter, all right? So what you're going to do is you're going to take the second one, and you're going to figure it first. And then you're going to move outward and take whatever answer you got there, and you're going to move to the outside and do the function of that. So you're going to plug it into the rule that I give for that specific function. All right. So now what happens, let's do a couple more. And these, what we're going to do is we're going to take generalities. All right. And when we use variables, sometimes that's when you get confused. So relax, don't get confused. All right. This is easy. What you're going to do is this. You're going to do the same thing that we just did, except it's not going to simplify into a nice, neat little one number answer. Okay. We're going to end up with another function as an answer, or another equation as an answer. Okay. So this again is f on the outside of g on the inside of x. Okay. So we want f of g of x. So we want g of x, and take that answer and plug it into f. So we're going to plug in x to g. And you know what? the x is already plugged in. We already know what g of x is. G of x is x squared plus 1. That's what g of x is. So what we want, this is where the tricky part comes. There is a tricky part. Check that out. Okay, so x squared plus 1 is g of x. So now I want the function f of x squared plus 1. So wherever you see the x in the f function, you're going to plug x squared plus 1. All right, so let's plug it in. So the f function is 2x minus 3. So it's going to be 2, and now be careful because now it's all confused because has x's in it, and whoo. All right, so the x becomes everything in these parentheses. So I want 2 times everything in these parentheses. So 2 times x, and this is my x. All right, so 2 times whatever is in here minus 3. You see where I get those parts? All right, and this is going to be your final answer once it's simplified. So now just simplify from here. And you know how to simplify these. You're going to distribute that through, distribute the 2 through, so you have 2x squared, and then the 2 times 1, so plus 2, minus 3. So we distributed that through, and now combine like terms. So 2x squared minus 1, that is your final answer, and you're finished. All right, you can't combine an x squared and a constant. You can't put anything together, so you're finished. All right, and I know for some of you it's hard to leave it not a one number answer, but that's just the way it is on these. Okay, all right, let's do one more just to show you that even when you're just dealing with the x, that when you put it backwards, you end up with a different answer. And now sometimes the square is going to be in a different spot. So this one is going to have a couple more steps. So here we go. We can still do this though. So g of f of x. So now we're going to have g of f of x is going to look like this. And we know f of x is 2x minus 3. So we want g of 2x minus 3. Okay? So we want g of this x, and so g is the x squared plus 1. So we're just going to put in 2x minus 3 becomes whatever the x is. So 2x minus 3, so we want x squared plus 1. We're going to plug in 2x minus 3 squared because all of this becomes x in that formula. So x squared plus 1. All right, now the tricky thing here is, there's lots of tricky things. Okay, so this is a binomial squared. You can't just square this term and square this term. Remember, when you're squaring a binomial, you've got to use FOIL or use the shortcut that you know for squaring binomials. All right, so I know most of you just prefer to use FOIL, so let's put it out here like this. 2x minus 3 times 2x minus 3. All right, so let's square it. First terms, so 2 times 2 is 4x squared. Outside, 2 times negative 3 is negative 6x. Inside is negative 3 times 2 is negative 6x. Let's combine those right away. Negative 6 and negative 6 is negative 12x. And then the last terms, negative 3 times negative 3 is a positive 9. And then don't forget, plus 1. And so our final answer is 4x squared minus 12x plus 10. And that is our new function. And you're done. All right. So there will be several problems. I think you have, I don't know, 4 or 8. I think 8 like this, where you're going to get a one number answer. And then the second section of your homework, you're going to get answers that have x's in them. And they're fine. Okay, having the x in there is fine. That becomes a new function, and that is your answer. Hey, this was a quick, short, to-the-point video. Composite functions is a function of a function. Remember to start on the inside and work your way out. I'll see you next time.